One day, during an attempt to modify an Atari 2600, a freak accident caused a tear in the space-time continuum. Now, stuck in a partially collapsed infinite temporal loop, Duke is trying to repair the torn time fragments and get back to the present. Trapped within the Atari and accompanying him on his mission, the disembodied spirit of the 1980s, 90AT, is helping Duke relive his childhood memories to repair the fractured timeline. If Duke cannot remember the key elements that shaped his childhood and escaped the temporal loop, then the 1980s will never have existed.
What's up, AT? What are you in the mood for today? Personally, I'm feeling kind of edgy.
What do you mean?
I don't know, you got anything like dark and dangerous? Like maybe a character or a toy from my childhood that's kind of like just cool and edgy?
Do you remember Knight Rider?
No, but it certainly sounds like what I'm talking about.
Watch this.
A shadowy flight into the dangerous world of a man who does not exist. Michael Knight, a young loner on a crusade to champion the cause of the innocent, the helpless, the powerless, in a world of criminals who operate above the law.
Goodness, I love Knight Rider. There wasn't a kid in the 80s who didn't idolize Michael Knight. He was tall and tough and edgy. He was kind of like our version of the Fonz.
Hey!
And he had that cool leather jacket, and he's always punching bad guys. And that hair, he was so tall and had such big hair that when he sat in the car, his hair would like rub the ceiling of his car. That really would have bothered me, I think.
Michael? Yes, KITT? That person up ahead is the one that tried to violate me last night.
But he just had that too cool for school kind of snarky attitude that was just so impressive to little boys in the 80s. Everybody just wanted to be like Michael Knight.
All right, let's get this over with. All right, KITT, let's haul him in before he gives garbage a bad name.
Oh, and I have to mention that there was a couple episodes where there was an evil version of Michael Knight and KITT named Garth and Carr, K-A-R-R. And there was this giant truck they had to battle named Goliath. It was classic 80s nonsense, and it was glorious.
I accept your challenge.
That was close.
You all right?
I can't take another blow like that.
All right, prepare the high tensile reflectors. We can find the right angle. We're gonna shatter that laser.
Goodbye, Michael Knight.
All right, pal. It's now or never. He's vulnerable, head on.
can you be?
Okay, pal. Let's not miss this one.
He's coming after us again.
That's how snakes are. You can cut off their head, but they still bite.
He's got one more rocket, Michael.
We got one more laser. That's a fair fight.
And now, of course, we have to talk about the car, KITT. You know what, AT? I've got a good friend who's a big fan of classic cars, and I'm pretty sure he's a big fan of Knight Rider as well, and classic TV, Buried on Mars. You want to see if he can do your little trick and see if he wants to help us out?
Sure, stand by.
Duke, is that you? What are you doing in my TV? Where have you been?
Hey, Kevin. Yeah, I'm stuck in the 80s, and I need your help recovering a memory.
What?
I don't really have time to explain it right now. I just need you to help me remember KITT from Knight Rider. Can you tell me some things about KITT? Anything that will jar my memory?
Well, Duke, you've come to the right place if you want to know a little bit about KITT. First, let me get into the right attire. That's better. And second, let me grab my model kit of KITT. It's not put together yet because I've been a little lazy, but there's plenty of information on the back here about the car, so let me read a little to you and hopefully that'll jog the old memory. First, KITT stood for, it was an acronym that stood for Knight Industries 2000, KITT. The car was modeled after a 1982 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. Now, the reason why they used this car was for two reasons. It was a very popular car at the time. They were very easy to come by for replacements. So if they needed to get another car after wrecking one after an episode, or if they needed parts or whatever, it would be very easy to find. And the second reason is the car just looked cool. Glenn A. Larson designed the final look of the car. It doesn't look exactly like a stock model Pontiac Trans Am. He added a few features here and there. And you'll notice at the front of the car, especially that sweeping sensor light in the front, looks a little bit like a Cylon from the original Battlestar Galactica. And the reason for that is Glenn A. Larson was the designer of KITT and the Cylons from Battlestar Galactica. So that's a little bit of his signature look in there.
I didn't know that. That is so cool.
Now, KITT had an onboard computer, and it was like a super brain. It wasn't just a computer that you would just punch things in and ask it questions. It had a personality. It had a brain. It could grow. It could adapt to different situations. So this made it a perfect sidekick for Michael Knight. Now, the car was a little bit of a MacGuffin. You could tell the writers would write themselves into a corner a little bit, and they would come up with something that KITT would have in order to get out of it, like a flamethrower or something like that. But it did have some standard things in it that would get used pretty much every episode. The ejector seat, the passenger ejector seat, would get used quite a bit.
Hey, where's this car taking him? Hey, look out! Hey, man, what's this car doing?
And and the car had a turbo boost, and this would allow the car to leap over things without having to get up to speed or use a ramp. It would just jump over things. And if you were doing a show in the 80s about a car, you're going to be doing a lot of jumping. That was another rule in the 80s. Number one, if you're going to get a muscle car, you got to get a Pontiac Trans Am. And number two, if you're doing a show about cars, it had to jump over things.
That is so true, Kevin. I remember they used to turbo boost over everything. In fact, I remember this one episode where they go to the upper level of a parking garage, they turbo boost off of it through the sky and crash into the apartment of an adjacent building, and Michael Knight just jumps out and sucker punches this guy right in the face. It's got to be the most epic knockout in 80s TV history.
Michael, what are you planning to do?
Zachary's apartment's on the 4th floor. We're gonna pay him a little surprise visit, pal.
Surely you jest.
Here we go, pal.
I hope it's the right apartment, Michael. Good grief.
That is indeed some 80s cheese, Duke, and it is fantastic. But you know, I think this show was just a little bit more than just the action sequences. I think the personalities that they had in this show really had people watching every week. I think the smartest thing this show did was give KITT a personality, and Michael Knight a little bit of different personality when he was just sitting alone with KITT in the car. Michael Knight liked to hang loose with KITT and kind of kid him, bruise his ego very easily. And KITT had this dry, witty sense of humor. And Michael Knight was like a little laid back. KITT would be like, you know, let's get to the next mission. And Michael Knight would be like, maybe we'll get to it a little bit later kind of thing. And sometimes, you know, as a viewer, you'd be agreeing with Michael Knight. Other times you'd be agreeing with KITT. And just watching those two personalities clash was fun. And, you know, I think that element of the show makes it worth going back and watching it even to this day.
Well, thank you so much, Kevin. I really appreciate your help. I think this memory is now fully recovered.
No problem, Duke. I'm not exactly 100% sure what's going on, but anytime you want to talk about some 80s TV shows or even Knight Rider again, hit me up.
Well, that was really cool. What do you think, AT? What's this? Oh, I see. You're trying to be like KITT. Is that what it is?
That's ridiculous.
Then why do you have those little tags by your switches now?
I just felt like changing outfits.
Don't be embarrassed. I want to be like KITT too. He's got that smooth voice and all those cool gadgets. You're so cute sometimes, AT.
Why don't you go ahead and try one?
Oh, did you put little cute sound effects in there or something? Oh! AT! AT! Get me down from here! I'm gonna kill you! AT! AT!